Hello and welcome to this episode of the Refinery Podcast. My guest is Jan Dégallier. Jan spent 30 years in corporate finance as a CPA working for one of the largest accounting firms in the country. Now she works with large and small businesses. She has a great heart for adding value to and inspiring people in their business. She is someone who transforms results by helping businesses become the organization that can overcome the biggest challenges and make the desired outcomes a reality. She has years of experience leading teams and shaping and executing business growth strategies from all the way from multi-million-dollar companies to small businesses. If you want to maximize success, you need to create a culture of clarity, efficiency, and collaboration. Jan is a great person to work with. In September, her book, Rise Above Your Business, The Story of Your Numbers, comes out. I think you'll enjoy my conversation with Jan about that book. Let's get into it. Jan, it is great to see you today. We've been spending a little bit of time together lately, haven't we?
We sure have.
Yes. And for a very good purpose. A very good purpose. You are working on something incredible, and it's been a great privilege for me to be involved as a thinking partner in the project. And I appreciate you as a thinker, as a thought leader, and as someone who is incredibly good at what you do. And so what we're working on, I'll let people know. It's a book. It's your book. And I want you to kind of introduce it a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's going on and what people can expect when they get this book. So talk about your book.
Yeah, absolutely. So several years ago when I stepped out of my corporate finance role, just a space I had been in for many, many, many years, what I didn't realize was when I started to coach and work with business owners, small, medium-sized businesses, everything I took for granted in the corporate space, that infrastructure that was there, especially as it relates to numbers and scorecards and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
In a small business, even in a medium-sized business that an owner or a founder has taken from the very beginning,
yes,
all of that has to be built from scratch. And quite often, it's something that is it's really hard to do. And I took that for granted, just having been in that space for so many years. And I realized how intimidating that is, especially as a business owner starts their business. They're passionate about what they do, but quite often they're telling themselves, well, running a business isn't why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I have a passion, I have a mission. And so the numbers side, the running the business side of things is kind of foreign to them. And so I just wanted to bring something to the table that would help encourage them, help give them some guidance, give them a way of thinking about it, and a roadmap to building some of this into their business.
And it really is all around the concept of numbers, isn't it? And what is the name of the book going to be?
Oh, yeah. So it's called Rise Above Your Business, Knowing the Story of Your Numbers.
That is great. And I love what you said, because we were talking and just realizing that, like you just said, an entrepreneur especially, they have a dream, they have an idea that's kind of moving through them, and they may be really very good technically at a particular thing. Not always, but a lot of times that's how a lot of businesses get started, right? Maybe if I'm really great at baking, I decide I want to turn that into a book, or really great at working on cars, really great at shooting video, that sort of thing. Or I've got an entrepreneurial idea, sort of a venture that I want to do. And you go out and you launch yourself out into this process where you are both doing your business and you're also have to study business at the same time, right? You went to school to be an accountant. You ended up doing that at one of the highest firms in the country, and everyone involved in that career path had gone to school for the purpose of being very good at numbers and very good at numbers for business, right?
Right.
And then here you are, and then, people that are out there and they're on this journey where they're kind of in this experiential learning process. They're just learning as they're going, right?
Yes, absolutely. They're learning because they have to learn, because they want to move their ideas forward. They want to bring their ideas to their customers, to the market. And so they're kind of just doing it because they have to.
Yeah. So let me ask for you, like, are you a numbers girl? Have you always liked numbers? Like, some people are just that way, right? Are you that way?
Yes. I really have always gravitated to the numbers side of things.
Yes.
I love reading books, and I love just learning,
mm-hmm.
but the numbers side always made so much more sense to me in terms of like how I can make sense of the world. And so, it
really is like its own language, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah. I totally agree. And it's just something that, as I think through things, I think I'm wired that way. And I know a lot of people that I came up through the corporate space with they were also wired that way. But I also know just all the different personalities,
sure,
people, different personalities in my own family. Not everybody loves numbers. They tell themselves, "Oh, I was never good at math," or it's never made sense to me. It's not what I love. Or they even say, I hate it. I hate numbers. Like, just point blank, they've never had a good experience with numbers. And so I understand the fact that you might or you might not.
Yeah.
And you're going to come at it from different angles.
The thing about whether a person is really good with numbers and they happen to be an entrepreneur, or if they just are great at something and in a way they're kind of winging it when it comes to numbers, is that's not a sustainable model, is it? If you're going to build something that's going to last, if you're going to build something that you can sell for a great value, pass along to your children, if you're going to stay in the game, you have to deal with numbers, don't you?
Absolutely have to deal with numbers. And it's not just about the bottom line. It's not just about crunching numbers or getting your numbers to your CPA to just take it from there.
Right.
It's really about fulfilling your mission and doing it well and being able to make the impact in the big picture that ultimately you want to make. And so if you're not tapping into that side of your business,
mm-hmm.
you're missing opportunities to fulfill the purpose of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's a constant, isn't it? And it's always kind of like the music in the background of your business in a way, isn't it? And sometimes, I suppose sometimes it's sort of like the background music, and sometimes it's sort of like, the main event, isn't it? That there's always going to be that stream of numbers going through, and you've got to have your nose in them, don't you?
Absolutely. And what I tell the business owners that I work with, you don't have to, it's not about the debits and the credits.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know how to do your taxes. You don't have to know how to create your financial statements. You really do need to bring in people that know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about knowing what numbers to focus on to give you the clues of success. What's been working? What hasn't been working? What numbers do I need to focus on to move the needle forward to achieve my goals this year or achieve my goals this month? And just be able to have a pulse on what's really going on. And really to the theme of the book
mm-hmm.
is to be able to see the story of of your business through your numbers. And quite often, that story that your numbers are telling you can give you a whole different perspective of what's going well and what's not going well than what you might see on the surface as you're working in and on your business.
So let me ask you this. What do you think are some of the things that you have done in the creation of this book that's going to help people connect with that story of the numbers? Help numbers be something more than just a monthly profit and loss statement. What are you doing in the book that's going to help people really connect with their story?
Yeah. So I'm trying to really connect them to how are numbers going to tell them the story. Mm-hmm. So just even in the way that it's written, mm-hmm. I'm trying to make sure it's not like you're picking up a textbook. Yeah. That's not the goal. And even in the book, I talk a lot about, I guess when I think of a textbook or going to school, that's your IQ, that's your knowledge.
Yeah, right.
One piece of the equation. Mm-hmm. Bringing into how this book is pulling together all the components of how your numbers are not only just going to give you knowledge, mm-hmm. The numbers are going to help you get financial intelligence, yes. and know where to focus in your business on the finance side of the business. But also it's going to help you just even from relating to people and your planning, how to pull numbers into your planning process, how to pull numbers into your overall process as you think about a transaction in your business from the very beginning to the very end, your mm-hmm. sales transaction, and thinking about that process and everything that can happen that, if it's not a smooth process, that can cause issues in your business. So it's bringing together how all these components can really make or break the success of your business. And it really creates a culture, whether it's just you and your business or if you have employees, mm-hmm. it ties it all together. So in my book, I'm trying to not just focus on numbers and just debits or credits or anything like that. Actually, we barely talk about debits or credits.
Right.
But it's your business finances and how it impacts your overall success of your business. It's a format or a structure for success.
Yeah. So you're really helping people up-level their game in terms of what they do with numbers and how they really understand what those mean, and as a way of increasing their leadership quotient, right? So you mentioned that you're helping people be a better leader by helping them increase their IQ around numbers, their financial quotient around numbers, their emotional intelligence around numbers. And so yes. When you say rise above your business, you're really talking about someone's personal growth and their capacity and their ability to lead a business in growing, right?
Absolutely. Yes. I love the way you said that. Because not to scare anybody away, especially if they don't like numbers, but right. I see it as a formula, and it's a very, I think a formula that people can relate to no matter what your personality type is, no matter if you like numbers or don't like numbers. Yeah. But my formula that I presented is your intelligence, your knowledge, your IQ, yes. plus your EQ or your mm-hmm. emotional intelligence,
yes.
plus your financial intelligence or your FQ equals mm-hmm. your leadership intelligence. So all three together it combines together what you bring to the table as a leader. It helps you lead your organization. It helps you lead your customers. It helps you lead your suppliers and your people who work with you, whether they're investors or bankers. I mean, it all requires leadership. And
very nice.
this equation really ties it together. And so I really want to encourage people. It's something you can learn. This is all something you can learn, and it's all in the book. And so I really hope that it can give some everybody who is interested in diving into it, gives them confidence that it's a skill. It's a skill they can learn, and it's not something they were born with and just didn't happen to get the math gene or whatever, however they might think of it.
Well, what I love, as you know, I'm fairly close to this, and I'm aware of kind of how you've been structuring this book. Well, first of all, you are an incredible thinker, and you have such a profound way of organizing your thoughts and putting them together, and that gives you the ability to convey those thoughts. And what I love about this book is that you've outlined it like a journey. You kind of take people along a journey as they go through this book, don't you?
Absolutely. Yes, it is, because that's our business is a journey. Our life is a journey overall. And so as business people, as we own businesses, we are, and I'm a business owner too. I have my own business. Sure. And so it's a journey, and we need to think about it that way. It's easy to get caught up in the, if you're looking at just goals specifically, that you need to arrive and you need to achieve a goal, and then you've figured it all out. That's not going to really get you where you need to be. It's probably going to give you a lot of anxiety, actually. And a lot of unhappiness. And so it's a journey. And so I having that the book structured as a journey is my goal, to help people see it, that it's not about knowing your numbers, and once you have it all figured out, you'll be successful because of that. There's so many other factors that come into play, and being on the journey and taking each step of the process is success.
Oh, that's
and
great.
So,
that's great.
Yeah. And really, each person who owns a business in this book is a hero. You are the hero in your journey. And so bringing that concept to it, there's challenges, there's wins, there's obstacles, there's uphill resistance, there's all the things. If you think about the traditional hero's journey, any book you might read or any movie you might watch with the hero in it, that's what you're going to get in this book, because
all the elements of there. Yeah.
That's what we're on. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on
I love
journey.
it. And you do it so methodically as you go through. You kind of help people with sort of preparing for the journey and getting ready. And I know there's a part in there kind of like about being at base camp, and then, getting ready for the climb. And I love that. I'll tell you what else I think people are going to really enjoy is that, again, you're taking a topic that people tend to sort of be in one camp or the other. They really love numbers or not so much, not a lot in between. But again, everyone who does a great job and sustains profitability in a business, they're very, they have a very close connection with their numbers. But what you've done all along the way that I really think people are going to appreciate is that you give people so many tools, so many assessments and ways to do some self-checks and self-evaluations, and a lot of different tools for people to kind of see where you are on this. And what I think is cool about it is that, it's not like you're giving someone a tool that hey, use it once and then this will never be useful to you again. You're giving people so much value in this book because they're getting a very systematic approach to really a whole set of tools that they can use over and over again as they grow their business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really important point, because, again, my goal wasn't just to bring theoretical ideas to the table, to make it practical, make not only give you confidence and visibility into how you can do it, but the tools to actually do it. So there's the self checks, and on a journey, there's one constant that is always there. Things are going to always change.
Yes. Yeah.
In the journey of transformation, things are going to change. And so just being able to pause and take that self-check, or jump into a tool and kind of work through, what bring your situation to the concepts or the tool that will help you work through a solution, whether it's figuring out the number side of things, or if you're trying to even use numbers in building accountability into the structure of your business with your employees. Numbers are important in that. And so the book throughout gives you all of these different avenues on how numbers are important, and being able to apply it in a very, very practical way.
That's great. And this is so useful, because what we know about numbers are the stats for business. We know what the statistics tell us, that most businesses, frankly, out of the millions of businesses that start every year, such a very small percentage of them last. And, even the first year out, most half are gone. You keep going forward, and about 4% of businesses make it about 10 years, right?
Right. Right.
But I think, tell me about this. Is this a book only for people that are startups? Is it a book only for people that have made it the 10 years? Like, who do you think needs to get a copy of this book? Who do you think this book will benefit?
Yeah. I would say it's beneficial to not only that startup business owner, but also the business owner, again, who has been in business even 10 years. Change is a constant, right? So I think quite often, a lot of the businesses that I work with, what worked for them as a startup in a growth process, they get to a stage, what used to work doesn't work anymore. That small business approach, it starts to, you need to change your methodology.
When a business evolves, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so that's where picking up this book as a resource and being able to, go and dive into, if you're dealing with a certain situation, whether it's, something in a plant, that you need to get better from a strategic planning process, because you now have more people on your team. You can't just do it all yourself. You have to be more methodical and more structured in your strategic planning process. You can dive into this book and work through the process to piece that together, because you're now at a new stage and you need to develop the tools and the processes that are appropriate to this stage that you're in a business. And so that any stage in business that you're at, it's going to be appropriate. If you are at the stage where you have been growing and you are building a leadership team, you need to instill these same concepts in your leadership team. You need to be able to build the structure of numbers and your leaders and your managers, and your employees also knowing their numbers.
Nice.
Each step of the way, and making sure that they understand what they do every day, how that ties to the big picture. And numbers are going to help with that, which is so cool. You could probably tell I get really excited when I talk about that piece of it, because, how many people go to work every day and they have no idea what they do, how that fits into the big picture. They don't know what their piece, how important their piece is to achieving the overall strategic goals of the organization. And it's so important. And how motivating is that when you can instill that in your employees?
For sure. So, it's interesting because no matter where you are on that journey on that entrepreneurial journey, this book is going to have an appeal to you. It's going to have incredible value to you. And I like that at the same time, it is, hey, if you're finding yourself dealing with a particular situation, there's probably a way it's been addressed in this book, and also in a way that helps you to clue in on your numbers to work through. But it's kind of a recipe in a way, meaning it's not exactly a recipe, but what it is a systematic approach to building and growing a business. So I think that people can find in there as they go through that the pieces of the book really fit together in a systematic way for someone who really is very interested in growing a sustainably profitable business, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, like you mentioned before, it's starting with that, the base camp, the preparation, the planning. Yeah. That's a step that is so often either not, it's either minimized and not enough effort has been put in at that point, or it's skipped completely and just completely not even addressed. And so just getting the perspective of how important that is and what you need to do at those early stages, all the way through to once you're up and running and you've got some momentum going, what do you need to be thinking about? What do you need to do when all of a sudden something changes? Maybe it's the economy. Maybe it's the market. Maybe your product has reached its maturity in its life cycle. Then what do you do? And so things are going to change. And so every step of the way, how do you get momentum to get started? How do you keep that momentum going? And we call it cadence in the book. Yeah. That cadence, that steady, that consistent process, being able to keep that momentum going. Because what I want to caution people of too is, I think quite often it's like the proverbial when I win the lottery kind of mindset. Right.
Sort of fantasy
when I win
thinking,
the lottery, then I won't have to worry about things. I won't have to worry about money. I won't have to worry about a job or whatever. Well, who all has heard of people winning the lottery? What's their long-term wealth? Not very long at all. And the same goes for a business. If a business wins the lottery, the proverbial lottery, right, and they are successful very quickly, that's not necessarily a good thing. That's not sustainable for long-term growth because they haven't had the time to build that foundational infrastructure that's going to sustain them through the long term. They need that structure to be able to sustain them through all of the changes, all of the cyclical, external, like market type changes, all the internal changes that a business goes through, and knowing how to handle that. So it's something that is, you don't want to grow too quickly either. And I always like to tell business owners that, yes, we want to grow quickly, but if you don't have that infrastructure in place, it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah. So if a person finds themselves maybe feeling under-resourced at a particular moment in their business, maybe ill-equipped to handle something or inexperienced in a certain area, they can find help in this book. They can find this book to be a great resource for them. And there's, and you're approaching it in a way, what I really like is that, hey, this isn't just about gaining more knowledge. It's not about, hey, just do what someone else did and you'll be successful. This is about, what I love about this book is, as we mentioned, a journey. It really is a journey of personal growth, isn't it?
It really is.
It's really
an
inside out journey. And so you talk many times in the book about the concepts of growth and what it means to be a person of growth. And so I think as the book has this tremendous focus on numbers, what it's really doing is using numbers to help you grow as an individual and be more resourced, right? To be more equipped and more ready to run a company that, guess what? It grows and it helps more people. And so I love that idea because, of rise above, because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we feel anything but on top of our business, right? We don't necessarily sometimes feel like we have a business has us, right? And and maybe even if we're having some financial success, but that financial success is depending upon us being the primary source of the person who works in the business to create the revenue, right? You're really giving people some great help with how do you rise above that even, right? And especially as it comes to your numbers, how do you get to the place where, what I noticed, let me say this. I noticed you in the book, you put a fair amount of emphasis on kind of thinking like a CEO, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because it ultimately, and especially if you have grown the business from ground zero, I say we because I'm kind of in the same boat with running my business too, and starting my business. There's stages where we have to wear a lot of hats, and it can get confusing because we're switching hats all the time. And quite often we forget that we have to wear our CEO hat. Just like we have to wear our sales manager hat, we have to wear our bookkeeper hat sometimes, or our operations hat. We have to also not forget to put on our CEO hat. Nice. And when we can remember to put on our CEO hat, that's going to help us rise above our business. And remembering as a CEO, what are our job responsibilities? What are we supposed to be focused on? And how do we need to do that? What are the skills that we need to keep developing as the CEO of our business? And really, if you looked up the job description of a CEO, the majority of the bullet points or the biggest portion of the job description points back to financial responsibility and financial management of the business. And so that's why I keep pointing people to don't forget to wear your CEO hat, and you need to know how to wear your CEO hat. Probably, it's easy to not wear our CEO hat when we are shying away from those types of responsibilities because we feel intimidated, or we don't feel worthy of being able to take on those types of responsibilities. And so that's why even in the book, we take a whole section. I talk about core beliefs. So not only are we talking about methodology and tools and resources, but getting into even the mindset aspect of what it means to be a CEO, having that what are the underlying beliefs we have from a money standpoint of our own skills and abilities, who we are as a person is a very important aspect. Having being able to increase our levels of awareness, that is brought into the book because as we are able to increase our awareness, we're able to rise above our business and be more comfortable with our CEO hat. And then having the methodology and all of the methodology that's built into the book as well you're going to be so much better equipped to be able to take the tools and resources and implement them and put them into use.
Nice. This sounds like a book people are going to want to keep handy. They're going to want to keep it close by. This doesn't sound like a book that, hey, I read it and it goes kind of, on the shelf or in the, in the storage area with the other books. This sounds like a book you want to keep close by. Is that the idea you had when you put the book together?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's about teaching people to fish.
Yeah.
Because once you can do that and you have those resources and you can pull it out, you don't have to memorize it. Again, we're not just talking about IQ textbook. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a handbook, a work in process, because every step of the process, you're going to run into new situations and new obstacles. But these core principles, you're going to be able to keep drawing on time after time, each stage of the process. And so I really, truly believe that. I think about all of the times I've had people show me how to fish, mm-hmm. How to look something up. Just even, kind of drawing back into my accounting days, the best favor a finance and accounting professor did for me was not just make me memorize accounting and tax rules, because they were going to change.
Right.
Yeah, he taught me how to go look it up. And so again, that's just specific to accounting and finance, right. But it's a concept that's what we need, how we need to think about everything. How can we be problem solvers as the CEO in our business? How can we be problem solvers as we wear all the multiple hats throughout our business and grow our business and eventually bring people in, because we can't take on all the roles throughout as we keep growing, but we also need to keep leading those people, and we need to be able to instill to them how they can learn how to fish. How can they be problem solvers? How can they be decision makers? And the delegating how well you can delegate in your business mm-hmm. is going to create that long-term sustainability as well. So I see this book as that source of continuing to be able to draw on the knowledge, the resources, the mindset as you go along.
That makes sense. And so you're presenting so many incredible tools, concepts, regarding especially the finances of your business, but that are so much more, that no matter where a person is, they can always have a place to come back to increase their ability, to increase their effectiveness, and to build a team that's doing the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
Outstanding. Well, so what do you think, where are you on the book itself, and what, if people are ready for this book, when do you think that it would be reasonable for them to expect it to be available to them and their ability to get a copy? How long do you think until that will be ready to go?
Yeah. So current target is this fall.
Okay.
Shooting for September 2024.
Nice.
For the book to be released. Mm-hmm. And we're looking to create some opportunities to be able to even join into a kickoff workshop.
Nice.
Yes. And so for people who are going to be buying the book in the month of September, there's going to be opportunities to buy the book, leave a review, and join in a workshop to be able to start to absorb and understand the concepts, the tools, and the resources throughout the book.
So what you're saying is people could get a book and they could also get a little bit of you too, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Like they could get time absolutely. With you, and they could get, what an incredible opportunity for people to be able to connect right with you as the author of this book. I think that's so great. I think,
right.
And I can just imagine the impact that will make for a person. That's so much more than buying a book. And I just think about the added value of that. If they do that workshop, they're also going to meet other people and get to know other business owners, get to interact that way. Every time I put a workshop on, it's interesting to me how much business the people in the room end up doing with each other. And I mean, it's in the, multiple thousands of dollars for sure. And more. And so, because look, this is a book for people that have a growth mindset, right? This isn't a book for people that will love the status quo and just are trying to, maintain that. This is people who want to advance, right? People who they've got something, they believe in it, they want to see it grow, they want to invest themselves in that, and they especially want to be really solid on their numbers and how to run a business that is well run from a number standpoint. And again, as you pointed out, not just the finances, but in many ways, so if you think about people that would be involved in something like that, those are the kind of people you probably want to be interacting with anyway, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And what really breaks my heart is when business owners, when they know they know they can do better, they just don't know how, or they're kind of stuck in a cycle of doing the same thing over and over again, expecting those different results, but they're just not quite sure how to break out of that. And so those are the people that I really, really want to help. I want to help all business owners for sure, but it requires that person, that business owner, that leader to be able to have some skin in the game and be willing to grow and learn and dive in, roll up their sleeves, and change how they're doing things so they can move down the path. They can take that journey forward and rise above their business and see things from a new perspective.
Love it. Love it. Any, as sort of a parting thought, any favorite quotes of yours? Do you have a quote that kind of, or maybe even not a favorite quote if something doesn't immediately come to mind, but what do you think was the last quote you heard that left an impact on you?
Yeah. Oh boy. I love quotes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a Robert Kiyosaki quote.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think what he says in his quote really sums it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it's about financial intelligence. And that's exactly what I try to bring into the equation. Being able to, not compartmentalize the finances part of your business, but bring financial intelligence into everything you do. So let me just give you that quote, and I want to make sure I say it correctly.
Gotta say it right.
He says, "Intelligence solves problems and produces money. Money without financial intelligence is money soon gone." So being able to apply that quote as somebody is reading this book, remembering that you can have the knowledge and you might know how to make money. You might be, maybe you're that salesperson, and that ability to generate sales and have a lot of inflow of money comes natural or is somebody's skill. That's great. But if you don't have the financial intelligence to know how to apply it and multiply it in your business, the money is soon going to be gone. And all that work is going to be for nothing. So that's my goal with this book, ultimately.
Well, that is fantastic. Well, I certainly appreciate you. I know that the value that you're providing for your clients, and my goodness, who wouldn't want a business coach with all the skills and ability that you have and the approach that you take. But I think now is an opportunity for that to expand and other people to get some of that value themselves in this book. I love the idea that people can not only get a book, but they can have a chance to interact around that book. That's a wonderful thing. So I'll definitely make sure that everyone in the sort of refinery and leaders fuel space knows when that book is available, and we'll be certainly looking for it. Thank you so much for being involved in the Refinery Podcast today. I appreciate you very much.
Oh, you are welcome. I am so glad to be here. Thank you so much, Rick.
All right. We'll see you soon.